This Sequoia TRD Pro is quick. It rips way faster than you think it would. This has a 3.5 liter twin turbo V6 under the hood, paired with a 1.87 kilowatt hour battery. It makes 437 horsepower and 583 pound-feet of torque. This giant SUV can hit 60 miles per hour in just under 6 seconds. Right off the bat, there is no issue with power in the Sequoia TRD Pro. You're not going to be yearning for more power. It's got plenty. This is a very quick SUV. The power delivery in here is really nice and it's very addicting. You just want to floor it all the time. However, then you look at your fuel economy and you say, I should probably stop doing this. So this powertrain isn't unique to the TRD Pro, and the Sequoia is offered in a variety of trims, and they are slightly different between Canada and the US. In the US, you have the SR5, the Limited, the Platinum, the TRD Pro, the 1794 edition, and the Capstone. In Canada, we have the SR5 TRD Off-Road, the Limited with a choice between the Nightshade edition and the TRD Pro package, the Platinum, and the Capstone. And pricing for the Sequoia in 2026 starts at $88,000 in Canada and $64,000 in the US. But let's talk about the TRD Pro and what key features you get with it. And it's actually a lot, so brace yourself. First of all, you get the TRD Pro badging, a TRD skid plate, a TRD Pro Heritage grille with a very bright, blinding LED light bar, exterior amber marker lights, which you actually don't need because the vehicle's not wide enough, but hey, they look cool, smoked headlamps and fog lamps, triple beam LED headlights, sequential turn signals, a platform roof rack, a locking rear diff, 18-inch TRD Pro black forged BBS wheels with Falcon Wild Peak tires, TRD Pro exhaust tips, a 14-speaker JBL sound system, a TRD Pro badge steering wheel, Softex camo seats with second-row captain's chairs. Then it has an off-road tuned suspension with a 1.1-inch front lift with 2.5 Fox internal bypass coilovers and rear remote reservoir shocks. Then you get a front stabilizer bar, and the TRD Pro gets 9.1 inches of overall ground clearance, up a ½ inch from other Sequoias. This comes with Toyota's Multi-Terrain Select with downhill assist control, crawl mode, and a multi-terrain monitor. And this mud bath color you see on the Sequoia is only available in 2025. In 2026, there are 3 color options for the US and 4 for Canada. If you want this mud bath color, it seems like it's only available on trims outside of the TRD Pro for 2026. All right, so I've probably mentioned this is the mud bath color. Pretty cool color. It's kind of like zircon sand that Mazda has. My neighbor said it looked blah, but then my other neighbor said it looked sweet. Anyways, the Sequoia TRD Pro starts at $104,000 here in Canada and about $80,000 in the US. Very expensive. You're gonna get hit with the luxury tax with this TRD Pro here in Canada. So that's a bummer. I personally think the Sequoia TRD Pro is a fantastic looking SUV, but what about you? If you're new here, every time I get a vehicle to review, I put out a design approval poll on YouTube and Instagram. And for the Sequoia TRD Pro, we got 462 votes and 72% of you approved of the design on the Sequoia TRD Pro. So that's a pretty good approval rating. If you want to participate in these polls, just subscribe here on YouTube, or you can follow me on Instagram. If you go over to my YouTube channel, I have a poll up for the 4Runner TRD Pro right now, if you're watching this video kind of as it comes out. Otherwise, every week I try to put one out. Just in case you missed my last video, I made a video about hitting 25,000 subscribers. So I just want to say a big thank you to all of you who have been supporting this channel. It truly means a lot. Anyways, let's get back to the Sequoia. Okay, inside the Sequoia TRD Pro, right now I have the air conditioning off, so it's just running on the battery. If I put the air conditioning on here, the engine will kick on, I believe. Anyways, I'm gonna keep, yep, there it goes. I'm gonna keep it off though, and I'm gonna sweat in here. I just don't wanna risk the air hitting the microphone. Anyways, the first thing you're gonna notice is that giant Toyota logo on the dash, and then you're gonna see this giant 14-inch touchscreen. Now this has wireless Android Auto and wireless Apple CarPlay, but we don't just have a giant 14-inch screen, we do still have physical controls, which is phenomenal. This is great. This is built to last, it feels like anyways. Really good materials in here. We've got our heated seats. We've got ventilated seats, which is great for right now. They do sound a little loud, but all ventilated seats kind of do. I find the seats quite comfortable and they are pretty adjustable. You do have lumbar support in them on both sides, the passenger and the driver's side. I'm not a huge fan of the camo look on the seats, but otherwise they are comfortable. And then we've got a nice TRD shifter and then a big wireless charger too. And I haven't had any issues with that overheating the phone. I was in a Supra last week and that just kept overheating the phone. This has been really good. We've got buttons for our camera. We've got buttons for traction control off, and then we have our rear locker. And you got a big, huge steering wheel with TRD written at the bottom here. Looks very sporty. You've got all your cruise control controls over here and lane assist. No paddle shifters on this, but you can use the gear shifter to shift through the gears when you pull it back and throw it over into S. We've got room for cup holders and then a massive center console, and it's got a little compartment for receipts like I'm using. And then you can slide this back and then you've just got a ton of space back there. And there are buttons on both sides so you can lift this up, and you got two USB-Cs, or one USB-C and one regular USB. We do have a big driver's display. It's not overly customizable by any means. You can just kind of switch through a few menus. On the left, you got your TRD light bar button. You got your heated steering wheel. You got your AC 120 volt button. So that just turns on the plug in the trunk. I've got my camera battery charging back there, so I've got that on. Auto high beams. You got your button to open your gas cap. 2 memory seats and a lot of storage in these door panels. Then as we pull back to the middle here, we have all our different drive modes. So we have Eco, Normal, and Sport for drive modes. And then we do have our multi-terrain modes. So I have to put this in 4 high to get those modes. So let's do multi-terrain. We've got dirt, sand, mud, deep snow, and then auto. And then you also have your tow haul button. In Canada here, this is the only kind of sunroof we can get. We can't get the full panoramic sunroof like you can in the US, so this is as good as it gets for this. In the second row back here, we've got 2 captain's chairs, and it's a lot of space. Lots of leg room. These are comfortable chairs. They do have armrests that are height adjustable. We do have sunshades as well, which is always a nice feature. And then the cargo area, it's pretty big. You can fit probably 2 or 3 bottles in there. We've got our own climate control down here. We've got a USB, a USB-C, and another AC 120 volt, similar to what we have in the trunk space. Now getting into the third row is actually pretty easy. We just pull here, and the whole thing slides up, and then we just jump in the back. You can also go around the seats as well. All right, so how much space do I have back here? Well, I've actually got a pretty decent amount of space. I'll pull this chair up. I don't feel too cramped back here. My head is touching, but it's meant for kids usually. But yeah, it's not too bad back here. We've got 2 cup holders on this side, 2 cup holders on that side. And then you can recline these seats too, which is kind of nice. Not too much, but they do recline, so that's handy. And you actually have sunshades back here too. There are 2 USB-Cs here as well. Okay, so here's where things fall apart for the Sequoia. And this goes for all of them because they all have this hybrid powertrain. And unfortunately, the battery sticks up right there. But here, watch. One nice thing though, we have buttons to put the seats down. So we just press those and they automatically go down. The headrests also pop down. That's nice. However, now we just don't have a very usable cargo area. You can move these seats. So you can move them forward. But it's just kind of awkward. Now Toyota tried to fix this with this parcel shelf they give you, which comes from down here. And then now you kind of have a flat area. It's just kind of weird. And a lot of people can't get past this part, and I don't blame them, but the cargo area is just really compromised. However, if you are wondering what the dimensions are, we've got 11.5 to 22 cubic feet behind the third row. Just kind of depends how far you've slid those third row seats. And then when those are folded down, you have 49 cubic feet behind the second row. And then when you throw the second row down, you get 86.9 cubic feet. We do have an AC 120 volt plug back here, and I've been using this for my battery charger for my camera. Now this is always a nice feature to have, and similar to the 4Runner, but not exactly the same, but you can open the rear window. In the 4Runner, it just slides up and down. And then yes, we do get a spare tire. Now on the TRD Pro, you get a better departure and approach angle. You've got a 23-degree approach angle and a 20-degree departure angle. I'm always a sucker for startup animations, so let's see what it looks like in the Sequoia. That's pretty cool. See Yosemite in the background. That's not Sequoia. But then, yeah, there's the gauges starting. It will show you the Sequoia forest sometimes. It kind of like switches through different intros. So let's talk about driving this Sequoia TRD Pro. Well, it is very lovely to drive. The suspension is very nice, very forgiving, absorbs all the bumps, and then when you're on gravel roads, you barely feel like you're on a gravel road. It's just a lovely suspension setup. Oh yeah, fake V8 sound. It actually sounds quite nice, but this is a V6. This is not an 8-cylinder engine. But they do definitely pump in some V8 sounds just to make you think you're in a V8. I mean, the fuel economy is V8 territory. All right, let's talk about fuel efficiency because this is a hybrid. So for most of the week, I drove this in eco mode. I was trying to get really good fuel economy, and around 14 liters per 100 kilometers is what I was getting throughout the week. I think you're probably likely to get in the 15s because I was really trying not to push the gas hard. I was trying to get it into battery mode as much as possible, and you can see when it's running on the battery. Usually happens when you're coasting. It'll happen at a variety of different speeds. I've had the battery come on around 80 kilometers an hour. Now this isn't like the RAV4 hybrid system. The battery doesn't come on a whole lot. It will come on at low speeds, and I've been able to drive through the neighborhood with just the battery. And it's kind of funny because you hear that hybrid noise on something this big. But you can just drive around in battery mode if you're really feathering the throttle and if your battery's at full. Now it's a heavy vehicle. You're not going to be ripping around corners in this fast. It surprisingly does do well around the corners, but like if you do really tight turns, oh man, you feel the weight. It's a really beefy steering wheel. It is nice to use. The steering is a little slow, but I mean, this is a giant SUV, so I'm not expecting it to be that precise or direct. Now visibility in here is pretty good. You have giant mirrors, so lots of visibility through those mirrors. However, the headrest in the second row is blocking your blind spot a bit because it does have a window out there. So if you did recline that seat, you wouldn't have the blind spot. But for the most part, it's fine. And this 360 camera system works really great. Visibility at night is phenomenal. There are so many lights going on the front end of this vehicle. You got your fog lights. You've got your TRD light bar, which is insanely bright, and it actually shoots outward, so it gets you a pretty good range of light. And then the LED headlights are super bright as well. So you're basically blinding everybody. All right, when you're driving something this big, brakes are important. So I'm at 80 kilometers an hour here. Let's hit the brakes full stop. Pretty good. So unfortunately, this roof rack looks really sweet on the top of the Sequoia. However, when you're out on the highway, it whistles and it's pretty loud. I'd say around 110, 120, it gets pretty loud. And it's definitely affecting your fuel economy for sure. You probably get a little bit better fuel economy if you didn't have this on it. Anyways, that wraps up my time with this Sequoia TRD Pro. Really great week with it. Key takeaways, very expensive, very cool looking. Power delivery is awesome. This thing is a beast. It is so quick for its size. Really, really like the powertrain in here. Obviously the cargo area is compromised, so that's a bit of a bummer, and that's probably why you don't see a whole lot of these around. Maybe you do. Maybe in the US you see more of these. I find around here, London, Ontario, Canada, I very rarely see Sequoias. I see a lot of Tundras, but I don't really see the Sequoia that often. It is very expensive, and the domestic big SUVs tend to have just a little bit more usable space in them. I have seen videos where people are able to delete the third row in here. Anyways, I do really like this Sequoia TRD Pro. It is probably more of an emotional buy. You have to really, really love it because it does have its flaws here and there. I'm going to be driving the 4Runner TRD Pro pretty soon. I drove the 4Runner Limited with the regular iForce. The TRD Pro has the iForce Max, so it'll be interesting to see if the power is that much better in that version over the Limited. It's a 4-cylinder. This is a V6. So it'll be interesting to feel the differences, because people may cross-shop between a 4Runner and a Sequoia. Anyways, thanks for watching this video, and we'll see you soon.